Hey, what's up everybody? In today's highly requested video, we've got another comparison for the Samsung Galaxy S7 Edge. I've got 4 additional tempered glass screen protectors that we're going to be taking a look at. At the end of this series, I'll give my final thoughts on each of these. Based on the protectors that I'll show you, I'll put them in ranking order from best to worst. Enan here from Udroid Mania, and you're watching part 2 of my glass comparison review video. So let's get to it. First up, I've got this Pro Glass full screen protector. I stumbled across this while I was at Walmart and I figured, hey, why not? It's easily accessible to many of us, as well as the fact that it's affordable. Next, I've got an IQ Shield film protector. Yes, I know it's not glass. This was also requested for review, and so I figured if none of the other protectors work, then I'll apply the film. So we're gonna save that one for last. Next up, we have the Alpha Glass by OtterBox. This protector was released not too long ago, so I'm glad that we finally got it in for review. I've heard some pretty decent reviews on this one, so we'll see what it has to offer. Next, we'll be taking a look at the Screenmate by iLoome. It seems that several of us have interest in this one as well, so that means it's part of the review. Lastly, we'll be coming back to the Amazing Things screen protector. I'm still getting quite a bit of feedback on that review, so we're going to look at it again. Today, we'll be starting with the Pro Glass. And before I get to the review, I'm going to have to add a third part to this, and that's because my Canon 60D has died before I finish making this review video, and I'm going to have to buy another camera. Coming back to the Pro Glass, you'll see that we've got everything inside of the packaging that you'll need for the install, including a full set of instructions. It's the typical 3-step process, which for these types of protectors is pretty easy. Before I install any of the glass, we're going to look at all the protectors first. Since this is a comparison video, note that this is the only color option that's available. It's not the titanium silver, nor is it the black onyx. I don't necessarily mind this color though. As I'm looking at the protector, it looks like it's going to line up pretty well. It is full screen as they promised. It goes up pretty flush against the bezel here, so we'll have to see if that becomes an issue once we apply a case. Up top, the cutouts seem pretty precise here. We've got everything that we need, and I don't see any issues. Next, let's look at the Alpha Glass. Inside the packaging here as well, you've got everything that you need. The main thing to note about this protector is that it's completely clear on the sides, and I think I actually like that, meaning that the color matching's only at the top and bottom. You'll find that this protector also only comes in the black onyx color, which for some of us, that may already take this one out of the running. With this protector, when it comes to the sizing, things seem to line up appropriately. Notice on the sides here that the protector doesn't go all the way down to the bezel, and OtterBox says that makes this protector more case friendly. Not only with their cases, but with others, so of course we're going to try that out. Next, we've got the Screenmate by iLoome. Inside the packaging, as you can see here, when it comes to the installation toolkit, it's pretty much the same as all the others, with the addition of some hinge tape to help with protector alignment. This one's also a full screen protector. It comes in the 3 color variants, and with this one you'll notice that you've got the color matching down the sides. One thing that I'm always looking at and checking into for these different screen protectors is their potential for the rainbow effect, or scientifically known as Newton's rings. And this was brought to my attention by Michael AJ, so shout out to him for sharing with us so that we can get a better understanding of what's happening here. Which brings us to our last protector, the Amazing Thing. There's a lot of interest around this one because it's totally clear, as you can see here. When it comes to the adhesive, it's only on the perimeter of this protector. As you may have seen, there were some issues when it came to the full review of this protector, especially in terms of it staying on the phone when it was paired with a case. So finally, after the install, we're going to be taking a look to see if we find Newton's rings. And I'll just say this because it's one thing that I have noticed is that with any of these protectors, if they come in the right contact position with the actual glass display, as you can see here, it's bound to happen. And to take things one step further before moving on, I took a non-curved glass screen protector and put that here on top of my S7 Edge, and using the home button to create a gap of air, I began to press down on the display. And what do you know? We've created Newton's rings. But enough of that for right now in the comparison video. I want to do a bit more research here so that when we get to the Amazing Thing install, I've got everything you need to know. Alright, now that we've completed our first look at all the protectors, let's go ahead and start with the installs. As I mentioned earlier today, my camera did give out on me, so we're only going to be looking at the first 2, and we'll wrap things up in part 3. So I'll apologize right now for the delay. I've gone ahead and arranged the protectors in the order that the review requests came in, so we're going to start with iLoome. First things first, we've got to clean the display, so we'll take the alcohol prep pad and use that to clean the display, making sure that there's no dirt, dust, or debris left on there. Take your time here making sure that it is absolutely clean because anything that you leave on the display is going to be there underneath the protector once you install it. Lastly, be sure to clean your fingertips. This way you're not getting any oils on the display as you touch it. We'll dry it using the included microfiber dry cloth before fitting the protector for install. Here, the main thing is to make sure that the cutouts are properly aligned and everything's in the appropriate position before you lay the protector. When you're ready, place it down and then gently from the center, press the air outward to the edge of the display. I can say that recently I found that if you're pressing gently, it does work better than if you're pressing firmly in the center. And here's our first look at the installed protector, but let's take a closer look. Along the bottom, you can see here that the cutouts for the capacitive buttons are pretty much dead on, so there's no issues here when it comes to the lights coming through. The sides of the protector run just about all the way to the bezel, and this is something that we're going to have to watch out for when we pair this protector with a case, because tight-fitting cases tend to push the protector up. Up top, you'll also find that the cutouts here are nice and precise and properly located, and that's something that we like to see. So far so good in terms of the rainbow effect, there's none here. So let's go ahead and move into touch sensitivity. One thing that I forgot to mention earlier is there's not a lot of adhesive here, and as you're hopefully aware by now, there's none in the center. And why is that important? Well, because it creates the gap between the protector and the display, and when there's too much of a gap, we get sensitivity issues that ultimately lead to unresponsive areas of the display. In the test that we're doing right now as it relates to the Screenmate, there's really no sensitivity issues here, or at least none that are major that are jumping out right now. And that's usually the case right now for most of these protectors, unless they're really just that bad. As of now, we haven't installed a case yet, but that's coming, and that's when most issues that would be of concern present themselves. Now that I've been using the protector for a little while, I'm starting to see where contact between it and the display is happening. So I took a few minutes to see what I could do to get the rainbow out. I put a little pressure on both sides of the protector, squeezing a bit, and this allowed for a little bit more air to get up under there. The problem with this method is that you run the risk of breaking the protector if you squeeze too hard, or having it lift so much that it comes off. Recently, I've also gotten a lot of requests in terms of how do these protectors hold up when they're submerged in water. I had done this test previously with my G-Pel, and that held up nicely. So we're going to place this iLoome protector in water for about 10 minutes, and then go in for a closer look. And just to keep the video moving, I'm going to speed things up quite a bit and compress this down to about 1 minute. The questions that we're looking to answer is, does the protector lift after being in water for some time? Meaning, how does the adhesive hold up? Also, does water get trapped beneath the protector? If you're watching the left edge, I can see that water is getting beneath the protector based on the air bubbles. This also happened with my G-Pel protector, but after removing that from water and drying it, there were no issues. So my expectation is that this one will perform the same. We're about 6 minutes in right now, so we've got a few more minutes to go. We'll remove the phone from the water and then take a look. And with that, now we wait. And just before the 10-minute mark, my phone started to freak out, so I figured it's time to remove it from the water. I dry the outside with a paper towel to remove the excess water so that we can examine the protector. Starting from the bottom here, I don't notice anything out of the ordinary. There's no creaking or cracking or anything like that. There's no water that I see that's visible to the naked eye. Up top, in the cutout for the sensors in the camera, I do notice here that these areas are fogging. I also noticed this with my G-Pel protector, so what I did is took a couple of photos to make sure that everything was okay. Using the front-facing camera, as you can see here, as I snap the photos, there's no issues, everything comes out nice and clear, and despite the phone just coming out of water, you can use it as you normally would, even though there's some fogging on the actual cutout. That completes part 2 in the testing, so I think now we can move on and pair this protector with a case. I've got 9 different cases here that we're going to be looking at. There's a variety here. They range from wallet-style cases to one-piece thin cases, as well as two-piece cases. We'll start with the steel gut leather wallet. I don't expect any issues here, and that's because in my testing of full-screen tempered glass protectors, they've worked well every time. The cradle that the phone sits in is wrapped in leather, it's not tight-fitting, and doesn't press up against the protector. What this means in terms of touch sensitivity is that it's not lifting up the protector, so the distance between the protector and the display remain the same. And as you can see here, this becomes a nice protector case combo. The top of the case is left exposed, so there's no added pressure here pushing up against the protector. So on all fronts, this one's a go. Next up, I've got a one-piece case by Loveit. This case is designed to wrap fully around the display, which means that it's going to have a nice snug fit to it. As we examine the left side of the display here, I kind of feel like the protector is lifting up. You can see here that this case does come in contact with the bottom of the protector. I do notice a gap here in the area of the speaker cutout. I am considering the fact that I did submerge the protector in water, but I feel like that's a real life use case. If you get in the pool with your phone and this protector on, and then apply this case, it's likely that this is what you'd see. So I can't recommend pairing these two together. Next up, I took another popular case, the UAG Composite, to pair with this protector. This is also a one-piece case that fits rather tight. It's got a decent amount of bezel that wraps around the display here, and with other full screen protectors, this case didn't pair so nicely, so I figured it'd be a good test here. Already, I can tell you that just placing the case around the bottom starts to lift the protector. When tapping on the recent apps button, I hear that clicking sound, so I know that this one's a no-go, so we're moving on. After submerging this protector in water and pairing it with a few cases, I can see here that it's getting loose. Within a few days' time, I'd probably be ready to remove it. And for the purposes of this video, we're gonna do that now anyway. I'm being careful not to crack the protector, and that's because I know that we're not quite done with the comparison review. As we wrap things up, we'll be taking a look at the overall clarity, the overall amount of adhesive, durability, and resistance to scratches. So I've got to save this one, so that we can see where it ranks as compared to all the other protectors. Next up, we've got the Alpha Glass by OtterBox. And I know that this is a long review today, guys, but there's a lot of things that you should know and consider if you're going to be purchasing a full screen protector. As I mentioned earlier, OtterBox does say that the Alpha Glass is very case friendly, and if that holds true, then that's a huge bonus for those of us searching. Inside of the packaging, you've got all the tools that you'll need for the install, including installation instructions. We'll start just the same as before by cleaning the display, so take the wet cleaning wipe, and make sure to get off any loose particles, dust, debris, finger oils, or anything that'll get in the way of your install. When you're satisfied, make sure that you completely dry the display and not leaving any alcohol residue. Next, we'll remove the protective film from the protector itself to get ready for the install. I'll just point out here again that there's only adhesive at the top and the bottom of this protector. As far as I can tell, there's none along the sides. It also only comes in the black in terms of color matching, so if this is a protector that you like, you definitely have to consider that. It does take a bit more work to line everything up here, so for me, what I focused on were the sensors at the top of the display. Once I was fairly certain that I had those lined up, I slowly lowered the protector into place. From there, and this is where the gently pressing from the center comes into play again, I'm only applying a slight amount of pressure here to move the air out and towards the edges of the display. Based on my last couple of screen protector installs, I think that this method does help a bit, especially when it comes to the rainbow effect. Now it's time to go ahead and take a closer look, and we're starting with touch sensitivity. As of now, I can say that I'm not really noticing any major issues. The glass being used by OtterBox feels good on the display here. I'm not feeling any added friction or unresponsiveness, and I can already tell you that this protector feels better than the Screenmate. When it comes to normal everyday gestures and activities that we use, I couldn't find any problem. When it comes to using the keyboard, that also performs nicely as well. So far, so good. This protector's holding up nicely. When it comes to submerging this protector in water, I'm going to hold off on that for a little bit because I already have an idea of how the protector is going to react. As you can see here, the protector doesn't go fully to the edges, which is what OtterBox says makes it so case friendly. This means that when you install most cases, you're not going to have to worry about it pressing up against and lifting up the protector because there's a large enough gap here to prevent that. But what I will say is that we're going to have to worry about things getting up underneath the protector because there's no adhesive there on the sides. I won't fully be able to test this without leaving the protector on for some time, so before we wrap up this comparison, it's something I'll be keeping my eye on. So far, since everything's going really well with this protector, we're going to jump right into the case pairing. Since this is an OtterBox screen protector, it only makes sense to start with an OtterBox case. I've got here the OtterBox commuter. This is a tight, two-piece fitting case. It wraps closely around the bezel of your S7 Edge, but as you can see here, because the Alpha Glass curves so slightly around the edges, there's plenty of room for both it and your case. The gap that's here, it doesn't seem too huge, so I don't think you're going to get a lot of dust in between there, but there is that potential. Now that the curved displays have been out for some time, I gotta say that I'm happy to see that tempered glass manufacturers are learning to deal with this, and that things should only improve with time. As we've already seen in relation to touch sensitivity, these issues are virtually non-existent. Right now, I'll just say that I'm feeling like this is a nice surprise. When it came to the Alpha Glass, I wasn't really expecting it to perform this well, but I'm very pleasantly surprised right now. Given that this protector works with the OtterBox commuter, it gives me a lot of hope for other tight-fitting cases, so let's jump right into it. Next, I tried the Subcase Unicorn Beetle. This is another tight-fitting case that I've really never been able to pair with a protector. It's one of my favorite cases, and as you can see here, just like we saw with the OtterBox commuter, there's not any issue. The case doesn't come in contact with the protector, which means that it's not going to cause any added sensitivity issues. And when you compare a case with a protector like this, you get that full coverage that we're all looking for. So just like the commuter, this one's a go. Next up, I brought back the UAG composite case. This is also another one that proved to be troublesome when pairing with a protector, and once again, just like the previous two cases that we've seen, this one works as well. So now that's 3 of the more difficult cases that I've had that can be paired with this protector. Given that it works with these 3 cases, I'm going to go ahead and say that OtterBox is pretty right when they say that their protector is case friendly. Now me saying that doesn't mean that it's going to work with each and every case that's out there. But for example, here's another one that I always get questions about, and that's the Spigen Neo Hybrid. This is yet another case that's been most difficult to pair with a full screen tempered glass protector, and if it works with this one, I'd say OtterBox has definitely got you covered. So I went ahead and installed the case with this protector, and I'm happy to report there were no issues. That being the case, I pulled out my Oblique Slim Meta, and a total of 13 or 14 cases. My plan was to go through each and every one of these on camera and show you guys how they paired with the protector, and that's when the unthinkable happened. My camera died. So this is where I have to end the comparison review for today, but I'm happy to report that I'm still using the protector on my phone as of now, and I'm not having any issues. In fact, the Alpha Glass is working so well that I'm going to keep this on for the next couple of days so that I can report back and let you know how things are going. If you're interested in this protector, or any of the cases that I've paired it with, the links are down below if you're interested, so go and check them out. Okay, so there you have it. I guess it's a good thing that my camera died, otherwise I'd still be talking. Unfortunately, what that means is that there's going to be one more segment to this comparison review. We'll wrap things up by doing the water test for each and every one of these. We'll review the clarity, as well as test the hardness and scratch resistance, and finally come back to the overall case friendliness. Once all said and done, I'll rank them for you, giving my final thoughts on best to worst. We'll end this comparison review series with a giveaway of my top 2 protectors, so stay tuned for that. If you're new to the channel, now would be the time to go ahead and click that subscribe button for more content like this. Welcome to the channel. As always, I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you in the comments below.